From hunger, cyberspace conflict, to a space arms race, the world is facing a growing number of new threats disrupting peace and stability. The World Food Program says around 345 million people will not have enough food in 2023. More than 900,000 people are already fighting to survive in famine conditions. China is pushing for international cooperation. In 2022, China proposed an initiative on global food security, calling on countries not to impose export restrictions on food purchases by the World Food Program for humanitarian purposes, and to help developing countries enhance food production capacity and storage. Last year, China also delivered over 15,000 tons of emergency humanitarian food aid to countries in need. The world's biodiversity crisis means species are vanishing at an alarming rate. The UN reports that around 1 million animal and plant species are now in danger of going extinct due to human activities. Scientists have estimated the rapid loss of species to be between 1,000 and 10,000 times faster than natural extinction rates. Biodiversity lays the foundation for human survival and development, said President Xi in his address at a key UN meeting on global biodiversity protection in 2021. He said the crisis requires countries to join hands to rebuild life on planet Earth. Xi highlighted the importance of sustainable development. It's also looking grim for the oceans, with countries competing for maritime domination and marine resources, and marine pollution remains a growing concern. In 2019, Chinese President Xi Jinping proposed the building of a maritime community with a shared future in a meeting with international naval dignitaries. He said nations should strengthen maritime dialogue, exchanges, and practical naval cooperation, and called for joint efforts to address common threats and challenges at sea. In cyberspace, security issues and other threats are mounting with the rapid digitalization. The Interpol says the global cost of cybercrime is projected to reach $10.5 trillion by 2025. In 2022, the head of the U.S. Cyber Command, General Paul Nakasone, confirmed that U.S. military hackers had conducted a series of cyber operations in support of Ukraine. Nakasone described the operations as full-spectrum and offensive. His admission is the first confirmation of the U.S. launching a digital battle against Russia. The American rideshare company Uber admitted to a cover-up of a huge data breach in 2016. Uber said hackers used the stolen credentials to access a huge amount of data and exposed the confidential information of 57 million customers and drivers. China believes in building a cyberspace community with a shared future. In November last year, China issued a white paper on cyberspace security, advocating respect for the cyber sovereignty of all countries and creating an open, fair, and non-discriminatory digital environment. The white paper says Beijing firmly opposes the use of information technology to undermine the critical information infrastructure of other countries, calling for global actions to tackle the threat of cybercrime and cyberterrorism together. And the challenges go beyond of Earth. The space arms race has been enlarging as Washington looks to build up its military presence in space and increasingly brings up the myth of the China threat. Former U.S. President Donald Trump established the first space force in the world in 2019, saying outer space is the world's newest battleground for dominance, and America's superiority in space is vital. Around 16,000 Air Force and civilian personnel have been assigned to the Space Force. In 2022, the U.S. launched its first overseas Space Force unit in South Korea. The Biden administration has stepped up its military space budget by $7 billion to $28 billion in 2023 compared to a year ago. The White House says the move is aimed at staying ahead of Chinese advances in orbit. China in 2022 proposed building a community with a shared future for mankind in outer space in a white paper on the country's space industry. The country has opened its doors to certain countries, including Germany, Sweden, the Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, in conducting experiments and collecting data for its lunar exploration mission. Beijing has also promised to make its first space station a platform for extensive international cooperation, including astronaut selection and training, as well as joint flights. In 2017, the Chinese concept of building a community of shared future for mankind was incorporated into a UN resolution on the prevention of an arms race in outer space. This concept has evolved into a vision with global significance, echoed by an increasing number of countries and international organizations across the world. 我海洋 CGTN